Welcome to the Sales Influence Podcast, where we talk about finding the why in how people buy. I'm your host, Victor Antonio. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for lending me those beautiful ears. And if you're watching this on YouTube or any video, thank you for lending me the eyeballs. I appreciate them as well. Today, I want to talk about that moment. Do you know what I mean by that moment? There's that moment where you're talking to a prospect, right? And let's say you're trying to either close the deal or advance the sale. Close the deal, I mean, you're just trying to get the sale right there and then. But in some cases, that might not be possible. And what you're trying to do is advance the sale to the next step or the next stage, for example, a second meeting, right? So whether you're trying to close it, get the deal there, or advance it, get the next meeting, go on to the next step, you ever been in that situation where it just feels uncomfortable? Do you know what I'm talking about? You get towards the end of the presentation and you can tell, you can feel, we're socially attuned animals, right? Human beings are socially attuned social animals. And we can tell when something's just not at the line. It's not at the mark, right? And you can feel that there's something holding the customer back or the prospect back from closing or actually moving to the next step. Now, what do you do? What do you say? That's what we're going to talk about. What I want you to think about is consider this strategy. I like using it, and I use it when I know that I'm not feeling good about where we're at in terms of, I feel like there's like something holding the customer back, the prospect back. I feel like there's just something I missed, right? Or maybe there's something they're not seeing, or maybe they simply don't like the product or service. But I need to know. Do you know what I mean? I need to know. In other words, before I leave that meeting, I want to know, are we in or are we out? Are we going to do this together or not? Because think about it. How many times has this happened to you? You go through a conversation or presentation. You get to the end. It sounds good. They say, let me think about it. We'll get back to you, Victor. And then they ghost you, right? They don't return your phone calls. They don't respond to your emails. And you're like, what happened? And in most cases, like 90% of the times, you won't hear back from them. So having said that, if we're in that meeting and we know that this is our one bite at the apple, this is our one shot, right? Then we need to know that when we leave there, we've done all we could to advance the sale or close the sale. So you get to the end of the presentation. Price is there, the options are there, and all they have to do is just say yes. So now, my favorite closing line is there any reason we shouldn't get started? This is after me providing a recommendation. And if the customer, hems and haws, at that point, you want to say something like this. Here it comes. Mr. Prospect, Mrs. Prospect, there seems to be something holding you back from moving forward. May I ask what that is? Oh, I love that because there's something visual about, there seems to be something holding you back from moving forward. May I ask what that is? Now you can play with that script, right? You can say, is there anything there seems to be something holding you back? May I ask, or can I ask what that is? Something's holding you back from moving forward. Can I ask what that is? Again, find your scripting style, the way you speak to make it sound natural. And at that point, they have to tell you what's holding them back. Because if they liked everything, if they said, no, there's nothing holding me back, I really like everything you've presented, well, is there any reason we shouldn't get started? Right? Because if there's nothing holding you back, is there any reason we shouldn't progress to the next step? Or what should the next step be then? And then they'll tell you what the next step is, right? If it's the deal closed, sale, then you'll close it right there. Is there any reason we shouldn't get started? No, there isn't. Well, let's go ahead and do it. Sign the deal, right? But if the customer still kind of holds back a little bit, says, no, Victor, I just want to think about it. And my think about it script, it's online, check it out. But you can use and go through the I'll think about it script, which goes something like this. Mr. Client, when someone tells me they have to think about it, it's one of three things. One is you think there's maybe the product or service isn't a fit. Is that it? Number two, if they say it's okay, no, it is a fit, Victor. Number two, then, if it is a fit, is there some feature or functionality we're not offering that you'd like, that we've missed? No, Victor, that's not it. Well, if it is a fit and it does have the right features, then I have to assume it's a financial question. Is that it? And see, notice what I'm doing here. I'm trying to, I'll just say drill for oil. In other words, I'm trying to dig for what's really holding them back. So when I initially ask, Mr. Prospect, there seems to be something holding you back from moving forward. May I ask what that is? And now they have to give you something. What you're doing is you're stopping in the process of selling. You're stopping and saying there seems to be something holding you back. In plain language, we would say this to our friend, dude, What's holding you back from making a decision? I mean, that's how we do it, when we're talking to friends. You're doing the same thing with clients or prospects, but what you're doing is you're softening the language a little bit. And now it's just powerful if you use it. Mr. Prospect, there seems to be something holding you back from moving forward. There seems to be something holding you back from making a decision. May I ask what that is? And what you're doing is putting the prospect on point. In other words, you're calling them on the carpet, so to speak, and saying, what is it? What did I miss? Now, if it's a fit, the product fits, and we have the right features, and the financing is good, then the fourth reason someone might hold that back or be holding back from making a decision or moving to the next stage is simply that they're scared. They're scared. There's some fear. There's something in your presentation that you didn't cover that made them feel better. There's something that you said that maybe triggered something within them, and they're afraid. So I always say, if it's not fit, if it's not the functionality, it's not the finance, then it has to be fear. But let's go back to the original conversation here. When a customer seems like they're hesitating from making a buying decision, and you know that there's something there, then all I want you to do is use that line, Mr. Prospect. There seems to be something holding you back from moving forward. What is it? Use that strategy. Let me know what you think. But I think what you're going to find is when you use it, because this is what I find, is that it opens up another track of conversation, or they simply agree to move forward. Try it out. Let me know what you think. And that is it for the Sales Influence Podcast. Leave me some feedback on iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, or wherever you're listening or watching. I'd love to hear your feedback. And after you do that, check out the Sales Velocity Academy. You know the deal, salesvelocityacademy.com. We've added some great new courses. One of the newer courses we added is something called Speed to Value, which is how do you onboard people faster. So go to salesvelocityacademy.com, check out the new courses. And on that note, this is Victor Antonio, always reminding you, selling ain't hard when you know how. Take care.